This Torah minute or two, maybe 5, of inspiration is dedicated to my uncle, Alvin, Rabbi Avrohom Yitzchok, ben Yaakov Zev, who was a tremendous person. And I would like to talk about parsha insights that I have, that I've heard of. In this case, it's something that I thought of this week, Baruch Hashem. And we start off with parshas Emor. And in parshas Emor, in Parachof Aleph, Pasuk Yud Zayin, so it's 21:17, the book of Leviticus, Vayikra. Daber al Aaron, speak to Aaron, Lamer, saying, Ish mizarecha, any man from your seed, L'darosam, for all generations, Asher yia b'mum, who will have in him some sort of blemish or defect, Lo yikrav lahakriv lechem elokav, who should not come forward to bring the bread of Hashem. And then the Torah enumerates in the upcoming psukim all the different kinds of defects. Somebody who has somebody who's blind, who has some sort of issue with one limb being longer than the other, and various cataracts, all kinds of other disabilities, if you will. Now, if you look at this pasuk as the politically correct world looks at, it would seem that the Torah is, Rahman al-San, God forbid, discriminating against handicapped people. This would be an outcry. The ADA is against the American Disabilities Act. It would be politically incorrect. And how could the Torah, which is called Rahmana, which is merciful, be guilty of discrimination? Right? It would seem that the Torah is being discriminatory. So the problem is that when you look at it with a modern lens, as I just did, role-playing the mindset of someone, who's a liberal, quote-unquote liberal, somebody trying to look at the Torah in a derisive way, of course, you can it can come out, you can come away with that thought. However, in my humble opinion, the opposite is true. The Torah, in many cases, for example, in Yafas Toar, later on in Chumash Devarim, we're going to be introduced to the concept of Yafas Toar, where somebody's in battle, in the heat of battle, and of course, hormones are raging and all kinds of other feelings and emotions, people getting killed, slaughtered, blood, guts, everything is going on, and then he sees a non-Jewish woman, and he's permitted to have relations with her, provided that he goes through the whole process of Yafas Toar. So all the Mefarshim ask, why? Why did the Torah allow you to do something which is against the Torah? This does not make any sense. So Mefarshim say it's because Hashem knows human nature, and Hashem wanted to permit it to kind of do reverse psychology so that people wouldn't really be interested in doing the Avera, because Hashem understands the human mindset. So the same is true over here, in my humble opinion. Unfortunately, we live in a cruel world. We live in a world where people jeer, make fun of people, say lashon hara about people, and just plain old mean. So could you imagine a Kohen who's blind, who has some kind of defect? One hand is longer than the other. He's got a busted nose. He's got something wrong with his bridge of his nose. He's got some sort of other deformity. Can you imagine him being forced or compelled or required to go work in the Beis HaMikdash? These people many times feel so self-conscious and are so sad about their situation, and will put them up as a spectacle, and people will say, "Ay, Neba Chaim, did you see that Kohen over there? Look at him. He's a hunchback. Oh, look at him. Wow, he's blind in one eye. He's wearing an eye patch. How did that happen? Oh my gosh, look, his one arm is longer than the next." That's good. That's the people that are shushing quietly. What about the people that are going to jeer? Say, look at that weirdo up there. Can't you get a better Kohen? There's always one in a crowd like that. So in order to shield the Kohen from this pain, Hashem said, you know what? I'd rather not have you officiate in the temple. We have other work that you could do. But this is not what I want you to do. Why? Not because Hashem is racist, Rahman al-Islam, not because Hashem is callous towards the plight of handicapped people. It's just the opposite. Rahmana, it's Rahmanis. How could I ask a Kohen who's disabled, who has some sort of deformity, to serve in the Holy of Holies? That's not what I want. I want people not to sin. I don't want to put people, I'm going to put somebody who looks like that up there. People are going to go make fun of him. So in order to prevent that, Hashem says, don't put a balmum up to bat, so to speak. So that's one Torah machshava I wanted to speak about. Now at the end, we have a very, very interesting story here of the Mekalel. All right, Mekalel was the person, Shlomo Basdivri's son. It says over here in Perek Chav Dalid Pasuk Yud, Vayetzi ben Ish Yisraelis, and an Ish Yisraelis, an Israelite woman, the son of an Israelite woman, went out, and Vahu ben Ish Mitzri, and he was the son of an Egyptian man. And we know the Mefarshim tell us that this was the man who Moshe Rabbeinu killed with words, right? He saw him whipping somebody out of the Shem Mefarish, the ineffable name, and it killed that person. And what happened is the Shlomas Bezdivri, Veinatz V'machne, had a fight in the camp, Ben HaYisraelis, the Ish HaYisraeli. And they fought, and there was a problem. They fought in the camp, the son of an Israelite woman and the Israelite man. And then the Torah continues that the son of the Israelite woman pronounced the name in blasphemy, which means he, Rachmal, son, cursed the name of Hashem, so they brought him to Moshe Rabbeinu, right? The name of his mother was Shlomas Bas Divri, and of course, Rashi brings down that this was a derogatory thing because she was the only woman in Mitzrayim that was mizana or had an illicit relationship because she talked a lot to people that were not, to men specifically, and he was of the tribe of Dan, and they placed him under guard to clarify for themselves Hashem. Now it's interesting, Rashi notes that they didn't know what to do with him. Obviously, this man wanted to pitch his tent in Dan, but we know, we're going to see that in the next Chumash, Midbar, that you go based on your father's camp. And since his father was a guy, he had no real place in Dan. So, what is going on over here? I mean, we had Kabbalah Torah. Kabbalah Torah, we would assume, was not a partial revelation, or as, unfortunately, some people in the Christian camp believe that there's such a concept as progressive revelation, where Rahman al-Islam, this is all apicorsis, of course, but there's a mindset out there that God revealed things in the Torah progressively, like 1,000 or 2,000 years later, he'll reveal something else. We don't need to go into that. That's not really the purview of this show here. So if we understand that the Torah was given in its totality, then why was this not given over? So that's question number one. Question number two is that we know one of the Shiva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach, one of the 7 Noahide laws, is that, excuse me, you're not allowed to blaspheme. So let's make a Kal V'chomer. Let's make an a fortiori argument. Madach, a non-Jew, who only has 7 mitzvahs, is chayiv in this mitzvah of not cursing Hashem. So for sure, a Jew has more responsibility. He's an Arla Goyim. Of course, he's not going to be able to curse God. And not only that, his penalty is no less than the Goy's penalty, the non-Jew's penalty who curses God's name. He gets put to death, and he gets put to death. And they didn't know what to do. Make a parshat Kal V'chomer. And the next thing that's very, very troubling to me, it just seems out of place, is that we go on, the whole slew of the next psukim go on to talk about all the laws of Nezikin. For example, going back, it says in Pasuk Yud Zayin through Yiches, Umaka Nefesh Behema Yishamenu, somebody smites his animal, shall pay Nefesh Tachas Nefesh, a life for a life. And then it says, V'ish ki yitem mumba misoi, somebody hurts somebody, kasher asa kain yasalo, so shall, just like he did to someone else, so shall it be done to him. Shever tachas shever, ayin tachas ayin, shein tachas shein, which is a repeat of what we learned in Mishpatim, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And then it says, it says over here, Mishpat echad yiyalachem kager ke'ezrach, everybody has to have the same judgment, you can't pick and choose. And then it says, V'daber Moshe b'nei Yisrael v'yotzis makal, at the end of Pasuk Chav Gimel and Perach of Daled, and Moshe spoke to Bnei Yisrael, says, take out this cursor of God, chutz l'machal, the outside of the camp, v'yirgum also, and we stoned him, Evan, with stones, Bnei Yisrael also did, kasher tziva Hashem as Moshe, just like God commanded Moshe. So why all of a sudden did we interject what's going on here with Hilchas Nezikin? We had a little bit of crash course in Bava Kama, like what's going on? So let's just recap on the 3 questions. Number 1, at Har Sinai, we already told all the halachas, so it's kind of odd to see that they didn't know what to do with the Makal, with the blasphemer. Number 2, you could have learned it out, even if the Torah didn't speak it out, you could learn it out through a Kal V'chomer, which means an a fortiori argument. We could have learned it out from the Hilchas B'nai Noach, the Shiv Mitzvahs B'nai Noach. And number 3, why do we have this station break, if you will, and we start talking about Nezikin, damages, somebody kills somebody else, Mishpat Echad, one law. So again, we have to look at contemporary, the contemporary mindset that we have. Many times in the court system, modern day court system, if somebody commits a crime, one of the defenses is that he had a tough life, and we need to have mercy on him. His father wasn't nice. He didn't have a father, or his father beat him, and therefore let's have some clemency here. Let's have some mercy here. The Torah is not like that. The Torah is not fluffy. The Torah is not jello. It doesn't wiggle. It doesn't conform to your wills. We could have said the same thing here. And this is the reason they didn't know what to do. Granted, of course, the halach of Makal was given over at Har Sinai. But the Jews, Moshe Rabbeinu had a suffix over here. What was the suffix? What was the doubt? And again, this is just my opinion, reading the parsha. The suffix was, wait a minute, this poor guy wanted to have a chelik, wanted to have a portion in done. Unfortunately, his father was a guy. That was not his fault. He didn't ask to have a Goyish father. He didn't ask it's not his fault that his mother slept with an Egyptian, right? So why give the kid a break? So he goes to Bezdin, he loses the court case, and he curses God. He didn't curse God because he's a really bad person. He's an Ovid of Avodah who doesn't believe in God. He's not an atheist. He's mad at him, and he has a lot of pain. So contemporary mindset would be, let's have Rachmanis on him, right? Poor guy, he didn't really mean to curse God. So this was the reason why they didn't know what to do with him. Question number 2, why don't we make an a fortiori argument comparing to this case to the case of the Ben Noach? The answer is, in halacha, we have a concept of ein onshim en adin. We do not punish somebody with death through a kal v'chomer. Why? Because in future generations, they may come up with a pircha, with a contradiction or some sort of way of breaking the kal v'chomer, of uprooting it, and therefore we can't kill someone, because once you kill someone, you can't unkill them. So that answers question number 2. So why do we have Hilchas Nezikin here? And it's because the Torah says Mishpat Echad, right? You have to have one law, meaning the bottom line is this guy cursed God. He had mitigating circumstances, he was angry at God. Says Hashem, too bad. Get over it. There's a limit. You want to be angry at Hashem? Don't curse him. Have it in your heart. Work on yourself. Work on that anger. Try to understand him. Beg Hashem for mercy. Help me love you. Help me get over these feelings that I have inside, these feelings of angst. But to curse HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rahman al-San, no, you have no right to do that. And that's why we have to have Hilchas Nezikin, because in Hilchas Nezikin, Adam Mu'ud La'ilam, a person is driving his car, hits another car, it's his fault. He's got to pay. Somebody punches somebody in the mouth, he's got to pay. We don't say, well, he punched him in his mouth, but it's because he had an abusive alcoholic father who did that to his mother or to his siblings, and therefore he learned from him. So let's give the guy a slap on the wrist or give him a warning. No, says the Torah. If you do that, then you're going to have the culture that we live in, where you have people that commit crimes, get away with it, go to jail with a slap on the wrist, come out of jail, and do it all over again. So Hashem is telling us over here, no. We don't want this to happen. We don't want somebody to say, cursing Hashem's name is not a big deal. It is a very big deal. And that's why we don't even take into consideration all the other things that happen here. The fact that he was upset, that his father was a Mitzri, he felt like he was outside the camp. Again, your heart can go out for this guy. He felt like he had no place in Klal Yisrael. However, that doesn't give you the right to curse Hashem. That's a terrible thing. It is my hope that, God willing, every week I'll be able to post a quick Torah thought, whether it's something novel that I was given as a gift from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or something that I saw or heard from someone else. And this again is L'zeh Nishmas, my dear uncle, Avrohom Yitzchok ben Yaakov Zev. Thank you so much. And until next week, stay safe and be well.